I originally made this video about a month ago, and I'm now editing it. And I realized as I'm editing it that the audio cut out and the video kind of cut out a little bit. So some of the stuff it's okay if I can cut some of it, but the important part, beginning part of the reason why I went to urgent care is out. So I have a very vivid memory of what actually happened. So let's talk about that. It was a Tuesday night, and I normally would go to the gym, and I decided, yeah, I'm just going to stay home. And I started to make dinner, and all of a sudden, I got this intensive cramp in my lower abdomen. And it was about the size of this. Like if you were just to put your hand like on something over your abdomen, it was lower abdomen, it was upper abdomen. And it felt kind of like a muscle cramp, and and it was kind of radiating up my stomach. And I've heard all this stuff about Mounjaro and how it causes intestinal blockage and gastroparesis and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. I got it. I laid on the couch thinking, okay, just a little bit of time. And I actually took a very strong pain medicine that I am prescribed for my migraines. And that wasn't helping at all. I was laying down and I said, oh my gosh, what in the world am I going to do? So maybe I'll just get a heating pad or something. I couldn't get off the couch. I laid there for 5 minutes, and every time I moved, I couldn't get off the couch. So it was completely painful. And this is where I actually talk about it. So the video is me the day after, the morning after I went to the urgent care. Bad boy. It wasn't making a dent. On the couch, it wasn't helping. And it took me about like 5 minutes just to get up off the couch, and kind of frightened me because my 9 o'clock at night, the urgent care closes. The only one closest to me closes at 10, and it was like 8:50. And I said, well, if it gets worse, I'm going to end up in the emergency room, and I don't want to do that. Let's go to urgent care instead. So I went to urgent care, and unfortunately, really, the doctor said, I think it might be diverticulitis, but we don't know because we need a CT scan. Now, mind you, I just had a CT scan in November because of my doctor. Both when I got my annual pelvic exam at the gynecologist, I went to my endocrinologist. They both was checking on my tummy, and they both noticed like just something was a little bit off. And so my primary care doctor, who wasn't my regular primary care doctor, I saw, and so they scheduled an abdominal CT, and it came out. They're like, "There's nothing in there. There's just poop. You're just constipated." And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that's a big problem for me. There wasn't really much to do, but to come back the next morning, and so by the time I was done, like I was hunched over, I couldn't stand up. And by the time I was done, by the time I got there and kind of waited for the doctor, the hydrocodone had kicked in, and I was able to sleep pretty well last night. But I woke up this morning and it hurts. She said it might be kidney stones, it might be gallstones. But she said because of where it hurt, that's what her thought was, but we can't really diagnose it. And I've done a lot of research to see if Mounjaro has any effect on diverticulitis, if it causes, and there is no evidence for it says that it's a common side effect, so I don't know what happened. It's just this one of these weird things. But here's the saddest part. As I was going through the medications, I said, it's updating the medications that I'm on. And I told the medical assistant, I said, I'm on Mounjaro. And he's like, yeah, that's probably it. That's probably what's causing it. I thought to myself, I don't want to get off this drug. I even I wouldn't say cry a little bit, but I just was a little upset. I thought it might be a culprit, but I'm like, nothing has worked. I have been, we're going to, we're going to change the word and call a spade a spade. I've been fat my entire adult life, and I'm sick of it. Almost 30 years. I've been fat. Nothing has worked. And this is something that I've had some side effects, yes, but I don't count my calories. I don't I don't work out to the point of how many calories am I burning. I don't have to think about this stuff. I just try to eat and eat healthy and try to work out. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not starving myself. I'm not doing anything that bad things I won't discuss that I've done before, that I think some of us can recognize that, things were not unhealthy, that things were healthy for us that we did. And nothing has worked. This works. And I have no clue if this causes it or what I'm going to do. I definitely need to follow up. I need to um, follow up with my endocrinologist and see about whether or not. But I thought to myself, I would just pry this like out of her hands, like if she told me I couldn't take this anymore. So you might be asking, where was the pain? So if you think about your pelvis, right? Here is your nether regions, right above, right center, where like you feel like your bladder is. I thought it might be a bladder infection or UTI, but she's like, I don't think so because it was radiating on the side, and when she was pushing on it, and she's like, "Does that hurt?" I'm like, "Yes, that hurts." Um, so it was about this far off range, about a little block of where it was painful when she touched on it. So I am going to take some Tylenol. I heard ibuprofen or NSAIDs are not good for diverticulitis. If it is that, I'm going to take some Tylenol. Uh, I don't know. Hopefully I'll feel better. I am feeling a little pain this morning as I'm sitting here. I'm palpitating it, and it's nothing like yesterday. Yesterday was just, it was terrible. Like today, it just hurts like if you pulled a muscle, and it's like, oh, okay, I pulled a muscle, but I definitely don't want to not go and end up needing something else later on. So, uh, yeah, I will update. I will do another video on this to see whether or not what caused me to go into urgent care, and hopefully it's not the Manjaro. I've never had this before. I've had something similar, and I always thought it was some sort of weird cramps because I have uterine fibroids, and it felt very much like the really bad cramps I got when I before I had an IUD. I'm telling all my business. Anyways, okay. Wish me luck today. I'll post an update on how it went. Take care. Bye bye. Okay. Welcome back. So it is 2 days since, actually 3 days since I went to urgent care. So give a recap. Tuesday, I had some really bad lower abdominal pains, and it kind of started weird. I started to feel, I'm not sure if I said this before, like a little pain in my tummy. It's like my cats would walk on my tummy, and it would feel kind of bloated and stuff. And as a woman, I understand one of the things that we know about is ovarian cancer, which is like very silent bloating is one of the symptoms of it, but it's not found on anything like a pelvic exam. Like when they think you might have it, you have to kind of do some like ultrasound or test or something. I'm not going to. I really don't know the process. But I started to get a little indigestion Sunday. So that made me think that maybe there was something going on. Was just, it was, I'd never had pain like that before in my life. So I went back Wednesday morning and went to get the CT scan with the dye. So the IV is where they put some kind of dye stuff in your system. And it was really weird because it was kind of scary. I've been in the CT and like an MRI before, and just the whole feeling just it kind of gets you a little bit scared. And when you do it, like you feel like this whole warmth in your body, especially down in your nether regions, you're like, oh wow, this is really interesting. A little while later, the doctor came in. She said, well, good news. There's, none of the stuff that we thought you had, they're fibroids. And I'm like, what? Like I have fibroids. I didn't even think about fibroids. And it was fibroids and an enlarged, like an ovarian cyst. But good news, nothing wrong with my pancreas, nothing wrong with my kidneys, nothing wrong with my colon except for stool. And everything else was fine. No appendicitis, no nothing like that. So it was like follow up with your OBGYN. So Mounjaro did not end me up in the urgent care clinic. So I ended up going the next day and following up with my OBGYN, and he suggested to follow up with the endocrinologist just to double check about because enlarged fibroids block, um, can cause some constipation. And there are some other things beyond. So I have an IUD to help to treat the uterine fibroids. They do shrink them. They're a little large. I'm not quite sure if they've gotten any bigger. He wants me to go back and get another one in another 6 weeks to kind of see what the size is. A little bit different, an ultrasound versus a CT scan, because he says he just doesn't have the fancier equipment at the house. I mean, at his office. But he did suggest I go back and talk to my endocrinologist about it. But I know she's going to complain. She's not going to complain, but she's going to yell at me about the fact that I haven't gotten a colonoscopy yet. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the things that I think I did well, which was I went to see when the urgent care closed versus the ER. I know if I go to the ER, I'm going to be there for hours. And it hadn't gotten better, and I was like, gosh, I was kind of embarrassed. It's like, oh, I really didn't need to do this for the uterine fibroids, but it was lasting for days, and the pain was really intense. It wasn't going away. It was getting worse, and my fear was, what happens if it gets even worse? Where am I gonna go? It's 9 o'clock at night. I tried to find a gastroenterologist the next day. I thought about calling my primary care provider, but there was a bit of fear. I didn't know what was wrong, and I couldn't find anybody. And what they were talking about doing, I knew this wasn't going to be something that could be done at a doctor's office. It would have to be done. Even if I got in to see a gastroenterologist, they would see me and then still refer me out. So I'm still looking at, and the gastroenterologist, y'all, I'm in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And it was, some people were like, the next appointment's in April and May. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, it was good to go ahead. Luckily I have an insurance to cover these sorts of things. And I have an HSA account. One thing I need to do is find my insurance card and keep it. Luckily, I have it on my phone through the app and was able to send it, but it would have been much easier just to whip out the insurance card. I don't know what. Doing research on the drug and understanding what people are experiencing. And every single time I would find something, I was like, does Mounjaro affect the fibroids? Does Mounjaro do this? Does Mounjaro do that? And there wasn't any indication that anything that happened with the fibroids and the cyst had anything to do with Mounjaro. So luckily, and even the OBGYN was like, it might be, you may need to get off of it. I'm like, you're out of your mind. But I don't think we're at the point. So, but what I did do Wednesday evening, I did go get some Dulcolax and it was heaven. Finally Thursday. So it looks like that might be something I might have switched to, because right now I'm taking Benefiber, Miralax, and I've taken X-Lax and it's like nothing. Only the Dulcolax actually helped. And so I feel much better. So there you go. What it is. Have you had any symptoms? Put in the description. Put on there anything that you've had. Have you had any scary things with Mounjaro in your weight loss journey? And let me know how things are going on your end. And if you like this sort of content, I would appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. All right. And going on. Let's just keep going and hopefully keep getting healthier and better. Take care. Bye-bye. Abdominal issues continue. So today I had an appointment with the gastroenterologist, and he suspects that partly it may be gallbladder. We don't know. The CT scan said the gallbladder was working okay, so he said the imaging might show it's okay, but it may not be functioning well. So he talked about getting a test, but like he didn't set it up. The only thing he set up was the colonoscopy. Man, I've just been dreading that. And the instructions is like a week long instructions on how to do it. And I have to say, stop taking Mounjaro. When I saw that, I almost was like, I'm gonna cancel this. I know it's more important to get it. I don't have any symptoms, but it's just preventative and stuff. And like this is the fourth doctor that said it. You need to get a colonoscopy, and it's just, I mean, and it's, ugh, I don't even want to think about it. But No, that's another experiment. What happens when you stop taking Mounjaro during the middle of your cycle of taking it, just getting started and doing really good. But he said the reason why he might suspect it might be the gallbladder is because I've had some rapid weight loss, about 21 pounds and maybe about 30. What am I about? I'm on my sixth injection tomorrow. So what's that? 7 times 6, 40 something, 40 days, 2 days, something like that. Um, so according to him, it's considered rapid weight loss. I don't think it's rapid. I wish it was a little bit faster, but that's okay. So let's talk about what we did do. So we have the colonoscopy coming up next month in a little over a month, a little less than a month. I got a prescription for Linzess. He actually gave me a couple bottles of samples. So that's really nice. I got four samples and it's 20, there's 4 capsules in every sample. So what's that, 16? So at least 2 weeks worth. Oh, I can't wait. So we start off on the middle, and he said we'll start there, and then we'll see the middle dosage that is, and then however it responds to it, if any more, if he's like the only bad thing about it, he's like it just may work too well, and that's what I heard. So I was kind of already aware that it may work a little bit too well. If it doesn't work well enough, we'll go up to the next dose. If it works too well, we'll go down a dose. The other thing he prescribed for me is I had to put my glasses on. Oh my goodness. Di dicyclomine. And it is used to treat certain types of intestinal problems called irritable bowel syndrome. It's helped to reduce the symptoms of stomach and intestinal cramping. So that's really what happens. So it's about every other day where I'm getting cramping really bad. Like it's to the point where I want to do something. Of course, it sent me to the urgent care along with the uterine fibroids, but it's also just like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do stuff, and it'll knock me out. And I'm like, I gotta go lay down. Nothing's helping. I took some other medication that says it can be okay for it, but that just knocked me out, like sleepy tired. I was sleepy tired. So I'm waiting for a CVS pharmacy, and then he also sent the cleaning out thing for the colonoscopy. Anyways, so hopefully this will be. I am feeling better. I don't have. It's not as bad. Um, the cramping and stuff. I've had no symptoms of the uterine fibroids. Those are getting well taken care of. So I'm not having any issues with that. But the cramping is still there. It's not as bad like Saturday. I'm not sure what it was Saturday or Friday. I don't remember what day it was. I even wrote down on my log. I said I could only do 45 minutes. I'm like I'm ill. I don't feel well. I can't keep it up. And so it's about every other day where it sometimes is right when I eat something, it'll start to cramp. Other times it's just random. It's like, hey, what's up, girl? Here I am. And I'm like, oh, ow. And what does it feel like? It just feels like it feels like a cramp in your leg in your stomach. And it's just like all over. And there's nothing that you really can do or to appease it. Just kind of lay down, drink water and stuff. So anyways, that's it. We'll talk about I think we'll talk about what it's like to do the colonoscopy, having to stop the Mounjaro when it comes to that time. Am I going to gain the weight back or what? Or how am I going to feel? So, anyways, if you like this sort of content, please give it a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.